Welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast. Brought to you by PlayNFC.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Network. This is a live stream draft tonight. I'm your host, Greg Ambrosius, along with Geoff Stein. Geoff, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, what a weekend. What a weekend. My wife's birthday today.
Nice.
Man, it's beautiful weather. I know you were posting up at the ice is off the lake up in northern Wisconsin. It feels like winter is over. I was going to say, don't feel like summertime yet, but NFL draft, we're talking football. Winter is over. I don't want to quite say summertime yet, but we're getting there.
We're getting there for sure. Like I said, the ice is off the lake up in the Northwoods here. That was good. No dock out yet, no boats out yet, but good to be up north and see some water and some people out there on it. So good stuff. All right. Like you said, busy weekend, NFL draft. We had 7 rounds. I mean, Saturday got a little boring. Friday didn't work perfectly for skill position players, but we'll find out for sure, right? So tonight we have a Footballguys Online Championship. We did this on Thursday night. Had an awful lot of fun on Thursday night. These are 12-team, 20-round drafts, $350 entry fee. We pay the top 2 in each league, $1,500 for first, $700 for second, and those 2 teams advance to the championship round in weeks 15 through 17 with a record $300,000 grand prize to the winner. We've never had it that big. It used to be $250,000. So we're often going to be going here pretty soon. Geoff, did anybody win the $300,000 on Thursday night, or you think it's still competition is open?
Well, you mentioned it didn't seem like too much has changed since when we last talked on Thursday night, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, I think the market's still got to settle a lot of things. I think this draft is going to look a lot different than when you and I are at Caesar's Palace after Labor Day. So we'll see. Again, I keep saying that, but man, oh man, it doesn't seem like a lot changed here between the NFL draft Friday, Saturday. Those second round picks, there was a couple crazy ones, but nothing too ideal. So let's get this going and let's see what these people are thinking tonight.
Agreed. I don't think there were rookies that landed and affected veterans, right? There were some rookies that landed and got some nice landing spots. We'll see some action this year. I'm not sure how good this rookie class will be. I think the depth in the drafts, I saw something. There goes Bijan Robinson. So we've
real quick. I got to go hop on and call someone that's missing in this draft. I'll
take care of it here. We'll get you back. All right. So we've had 3 online championship drafts finished, and Jamar went first in 2 of them. So now Bijan has gone first in the 2 out of the 4. So these 2 guys have been interchangeable, if you will, with the first 2 picks. But they are definitely top and center, going to go 1 or 2, I think, this year. Jamar Chase might. The highest he's gone in our first 3 online championships is 3rd. So we'll see what happens there. But these 2 running backs are the key for sure. So you know what? I'll just talk a little bit about the ADPs. You can find them at playnffc.com/ADP. They're free. They're available. So you can get them anytime you want. You can sort them by dates. You can sort them by contests. It's pretty good. So it looks like team 3 we're waiting on. This contest sold out this afternoon. We had like 7 people sign up today. So great to get this one filled and good to have 2 of them here right now. But kind of slowing down our broadcast. Let's talk about the ADPs. Gibbs with the online championship so far is number 1. Bijan is 2. Jamar Chase is 3. Puka is 4. Obviously, he's had a different little offseason. JSN is 5. Christian McCaffrey goes 6. Jonathan Taylor 7. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes 8. CeeDee Lamb 9. James Cook 10. Justin Jefferson is at 11. And Devon Achane goes at 12. So interesting there. We'll just talk a little bit about the rookies. Ashton Genty goes 13. He's a second-year guy. He was a guy who was going 10 a lot last year, obviously because of the draft. Jeremiah Love, 18 so far in 3 online championships drafts between 17 and 19. He's been going there 17, 18, 19. He's gone in 3 of them. So we'll see where he goes tonight. But he did go 18th the other night. So keep an eye on that. So once we get this going, we'll let you know what's going on. But away we go. Geoff, how are we doing?
I've got to run. Unfortunately, Team 3 is not here, but no answer. I'm going to give them a text right now. But man, oh man, early season draft. We usually don't have these missing teams this early. If you sign up for a draft in April, usually you know about it. But we got to run, so we'll see what happens with Team 3 here, and hopefully he shows up.
Hopefully he's got his queue set up as well. Away we go here. But yeah, the show must go on, as they say, right? So like I said, Jamar Chase is going third here. Keep texting him. I mean, if he gets Jamar here, it's not the end of the world. That's for sure. That's about where he would probably pick anyways.
Yep. The text sent, and hopefully it's going to probably be Jamar here, and then hopefully by round 2 he's in. So
yeah, no, we got Bijan and Jamar right here. I mean, Jameer right here. Then Jamar would go probably. So away we go. But
we talked about it on Thursday. Jameer. We're all over the place here. Jameer Gibbs went first overall. So man, oh man, we talked about that Bijan Gibbs coin flip. Where are you leaning right now? I think I'm a Bijan guy with just how things are setting up. But I don't think you can go wrong with either of them right now.
No, and in fact, in the first 3, Gibbs went first 2 of the 3 times. So it wasn't an anomaly the other night. That's where he's been going. So I would take Bijan myself. I think he is just set up for a really, really good year. If they can get good quarterback play there, he'll be in good shape. But, man, that guy is something else. And what did he do in week 17, right? He won everybody $250,000 and all kinds of money. So that's the kind of guy you want peaking at the end of the season. All right, here we go. Now we're off and running here. So Puka does go 4th. We were just talking about that. JSN goes 5th. I've seen JSN go ahead of him, but he goes there. Christian McCaffrey. This is chalk, baby. This is what the ADPs look right now. Maybe I gave it away, but Christian McCaffrey 6, Jonathan Taylor 7, Achane goes 8. That's a little bit more of a jump. And then AR, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay, I haven't had too much to drink today. And then CD Lamb goes at 10.
It's Sunday. It's a Sunday.
What do you think? Nothing real out of the ordinary here, Geoff, right?
No, and we mentioned it the other night. We've been running fantasy football drafts since the Super Bowl ended.
Yeah.
And even after the NFL draft, the first round on Thursday, it kind of stayed steady, the chalk. And things are kind of setting up the same way. There were some picks at the end of round 1, start of round 2 on Thursday that were a little different. So we'll see if those continue. But for the most part, this is just looking like it was in February, March, even early April here. So it doesn't seem like this weekend's festivities had too much of an impact on the early rounds, at least.
Right, absolutely. Achane's ADP is 12. He gets moved up a little bit, but Cook, all 11 of these guys, their ADP is in the first round. So there goes Omari and Hampton. As we look at his ADP, it's 14. So right there at the turn, like I say. So I didn't think the NFL draft would change this too much. There goes Genty. Talked about him. His ADP is 13. So Team 12 takes number 13 and 14 there. So
and Jesse was an interesting one to me. Then the Raiders drafted the Arkansas running back, Washington, I believe was his name. He was one of those guys I read about a lot during the draft process. I think 4th rounder. I think he's the one that the analytics guys didn't love, and I could be totally off on this, but there's a group of guys that loved him and a group of guys that hate him.
Yeah.
But when we talked on Thursday, Genty didn't have a lot of competition in that running back room. And, again, I don't think that this 4th rounder is not going to displace the guy that they selected in the first round last year. But there's a little more competition on Sunday night than there was on Thursday night.
Yeah, and, he's a physical specimen. He's really good. He doesn't have a lot of experience. He's not good in pass blocking right now. He was actually a guy I thought the Packers might pick up because he's raw. He's not going to start for him right away, but he can learn under a veteran. Genty's a second-year guy, but yeah, he's an interesting guy. I thought he might go in the 5th round. The Raiders pushed him up to the 4th round. So, but I don't think he's going to dive into Genty's playing time. But you're absolutely right. He has a little bit more competition, if you will, or he can be spelled, if you will. So that's interesting. Okay, so Jefferson was the one in the 1st round who dropped a little bit here, and his ADP is, what am I looking at here, 11. So not a big drop, but he did drop a little bit there. And so we had 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 running backs in the first 14 picks. So
yeah, interesting. And Team 10 sticking there, Lamb, Jefferson. I think you could sign me up just from a talent standpoint. You can sign me up for that start any day of the week.
Yep. Well, okay, we can talk about pushed up AJ Brown. We know he's going to go to New England now, I think, for sure. So, or if not New England, it's going to go somewhere, but I think it is going to be New England. So A.J. Brown with an ADP right around 24, 25 gets pushed up into the early second round. What do you thought there?
Yeah, that's one we talked about on Thursday. I believe he was the first pick of round 3 in our Thursday draft. And I think we both kind of pointed out that he's one that we like. And then one that we think has a chance to go up. And he's gone up in this one. Again, what we call this middle of round 2 here, start of round 3 on Thursday. I think he's going to be one. Again, we're guessing New England, right? Is that's again, these
sure
rumors
sounds like it. Yes, right.
This whole Rossini Vrabel thing, I don't know what is true, what isn't at this point. But I'm thinking New England, and we kind of talked about how I think his route tree expands a little bit with Drake May at quarterback.
Yeah,
and he's a guy that I like in the Jefferson, London, Rashee Rice, George Pickens range. I think I like Brown more than most of these guys, to be honest with you. So where Team 9 took him is a spot where I'd personally be comfortable taking him if he's catching passes from Drake May in New England.
I think I know what's true in the Vrabel Rossini thing, so I'm just going to stay there. And I'm not even talking about A.J. Brown here. I'm talking about that. All right, Rashee Rice get pushed up a little bit. Again, ADP of 22. Not a big deal. You got Jonathan Taylor there, but it's always cool to see. And hey, look at that. Kenneth Walker goes at pick 20th. Kenneth Walker at pick 20.
He's one again. You see all these running backs going. I was kind of surprised where he was going. Again, Thursday, I believe he was end of round 3, start of round 3, maybe end of round 2. He's one that's going to be very, very interesting to me come our September drafts. He's got first round potential in that offense to me. We'll see how that offensive line is looking. Yeah. But man, oh man, you're talking about the Super Bowl MVP in the Kansas City offense. Again, they struggled in the past couple of years here, but I like him in that offense, and I think he's one that's going to catch some steam here as we get into the summertime.
All right, Jeremiah Love, that's the one we were looking for, right? He got picked between 2 tight ends. We'll talk about the tight ends in a little bit, but hey, Jeremiah Love, we said not the best landing spot in Arizona, right? And he'd been gone first 3 online championships. He went 17th, 18th, 19th. Now he's gone 23rd. Geoff, your thoughts on him landing in Arizona, and will he stay at this level, maybe even drop into the 3rd round?
Man, oh man, again, we talked. All those guys they have there, and maybe there's a trade, maybe there's a release.
Yep.
But they signed Allgeier, so he's going to probably be there. But Benson and Connor are the 2 question marks there. What do they do with these guys between now and September? So I think, one of them are gone. I think Love kind of gets back to that mid-second round range. If it's questionable like this all throughout the summertime, I think this is where you'll see Love go at, the end of round 2. And I think, what was his ADP? You probably have it up better than I do. I think it was around 17 in the pre-NFL drafts that we've held. Yep. I think this kind of has to cause him to slip a little bit. And I kind of think this is where he's going to go here over the next month or so until things become a little more clear as to how that backfield stands.
Yep. Okay. So as these running backs get pushed up a little bit, Walker, and then George Pickens got moved up a little bit, Rashee Rice, Trey McBride falls to 22. Not a bad position there. His ADP is 17. And then you see Brock Bowers go. His ADP is 23, so he goes right there. So an interesting second round there with Walker moving in there. Love moving down a little bit. I love Barkley where he's going. I mean, I just think he's going to be much, much better this year. I think they will pass the ball a little bit more. They've got some more wideouts and such, but I like where Barkley's going. The McCaffrey-Barkley start is interesting. As we look at the first 2 rounds, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that start out running back, and 3 teams that start out wide receiver. And of those 3 teams, 2 of them start out with 3 wide receivers, Geoff. Teams 9 and 10.
Yeah, a lot of gold there. Will be interesting to see. Again, we talked on Thursday. I've mentioned this. I said we've talked on Thursday a lot, but who will be those 0 running back darlings that those mid-round running backs that people are going to love coming into the season? And I think we'll get a little better view of who those guys are tonight. Let's see where these mid-round guys. I don't want to name names right now with people drafting, but there's some guys I like, and there's some guys I thought were way, way underdrafted on Thursday. We'll see if they continue to go in these mid-rounds and maybe go to Team 9, Team 10, who loaded up on the wide receivers earlier.
Jeff Fantasy Soprano says, I could have swore I saw you in the background of those Vrabel Rossini picks.
I'm not gonna say I wasn't there, but I'm not gonna say I was there either. No comment.
I would say if Geoff was there, he wouldn't be in the
Fantasy
background.
Sopranos is on TMZ all the time. No TMZ here. No comment. No comment.
You wouldn't be in the background. You'd be in the foreground there. All right, here we go. Josh Allen is our first quarterback, goes at 26. So as we said on Thursday night, the quarterbacks have really dropped this year in the NFFC. I think you can get a lot of, there goes by Josh Jacobs. But Allen going in the third round. We may not see another quarterback in this round. So keep an eye on that. But like we said, Geoff, on Thursday, right? I mean, that quarterback spot, Josh Allen stands out because he runs the ball so well. But after that, I don't think you have to rush on quarterbacks.
And no, we had a Beeb on with us who said, yeah, I like to wait on quarterbacks. That's how I've had my success.
Yep.
I think those guys that wait on quarterback are going to have to kind of maybe rethink their strategy a bit, just because some of these guys that are going to be there around 6, round 7. Is there a difference? I mean, yeah, of course, you don't want to, when you had the Jalen Hurts, the Lamar Jackson, Allen going in round 2, round 3 like they were, yeah, if you can score one in round 10, that's a pretty big difference as far as value goes.
Yep.
But when you got those guys going in round 6, round 7, maybe there's a little more value to them there than waiting on that guy in round 10, round 11. So maybe it's time to. I think the patterns will reveal themselves here over the next month or so. But I'm kind of thinking this mid-round QB might be the way to go this year. If you can score on one of these guys that people were drafting earlier, but if you can get that guy in round 6, round 7, you might be able to. That might be a league winner as far as where I'm concerned.
I think so. I think the ones we saw in rounds 8 and 9, and then Abib really held off. I think that may be the way to go. He says, he likes to draft 3 quarterbacks and move them in each week. So that's interesting. All right. So when we do these live streams, we want to do it because we want to show you third round reversal. We were talking about Vrabel and Rossini. We missed out on that. So just so you know, we go 1 to 12 in round 1, 12 to 1 in round 2, and then 12 to 1 in round 3. Why do we use third round reversal in the NFFC? Because the last thing team 1 needs is the first pick in round 3, right? He's already got the best player in all of fantasy football. So this really balances out each draft spot. And through the years, we have the data that shows it. You can win from any draft spot, and it's very, very even throughout all 12 draft spots in this format. So we first started when we were 14-team leagues. We really needed it with teams 13 and 14 back then, but it's proven to be fantastic in 10-teamers as well. So just kind of looking at team 1, Geoff, we talked about this on Thursday night. This is called a hero running back builds, right? You go with a stud like Robinson, and then you can lay off on that position for a while if you want. You can get a second running back later. He goes with one of the best tight ends, if not the best, in Brock Bowers, then Zay Flowers and Devontae Smith. And Devontae Smith is one to watch too, because if A.J. Brown's not there, he's the number 1 wide receiver in Philadelphia.
Yeah. And we kind of talked about that entire situation. You mentioned your old Green Bay guy, the rookie they drafted. Devontae Smith has a ton of upside, so you can sign me up all day, every day for where Team 1 just drafted him. There's a ton of upside, and I think there's a good floor there. You pretty much know what you're going to get from Devontae Smith as long as he's healthy. Mm-hmm. And then you add that extra upside with no A.J. Brown there. I really, really like Smith at the start of round 4.
Yep, I do too. All right, we like to talk about hookups, right? When we talk about the quarterbacks, we only got one quarterback off the board. But he's got James Cook as his running back as well. So you can call it a hookup because he does throw passes to Cook, but that's a nice little combination there. And we'll keep an eye on the quarterbacks and see if the stacking, if you will. We talked to Abib on Thursday. He said he's not a big stacker, right? Maybe early in the season it's tough to do because who knows what could happen between now and the start of the season. But again, first quarterback off the board, he's got a hookup stack, if you will, James Cook.
Yeah, I think Team 11 is just going to be happy if Buffalo's within the 10-yard line.
Yeah, he's scoring one way or the other, yeah.
Let's just say he's going to really, really like if they're in scoring range.
Yeah, I like Buffalo's offense. I think they did a few things this offseason that makes them a little bit better. Allen will still always run. Cook is dynamite, of course, so keep an eye on that. There's Luther Burden going in the 4th round. He has got some helium on him right now. He's going ahead of Roma Dunze and others, but we talked about this on Thursday night. Luther Burden, the Bears got a lot of options, right? Caleb can spread the ball around. We talked about that's high for him, but he's going to be having some helium in the offseason, won't he, Geoff?
Yeah, and And B mentioned it. Is this Johnson's Monra St. Brown in the Chicago offense?
Yep.
And you look where Amon St. Brown just went. If that's where he's going to go, if you got Amon St. Brown in the middle of round 4, that's a league winner right there, I say. But at the same time, you mentioned, there's other receiving options there. We'll see a couple go off the board here pretty soon, I'm certain, based on how things went on Thursday. But I get the Burden hype, but at the same time, I feel like this is where Odunze was going last year. He had a lot of helium. He was kind of the belle of the ball in our Vegas draft last year. So you can sign me up for St. Brown there, but I think people might be sleeping on Odunze a little bit here. He has a ton of upside. So wherever he goes, I'm on board with it.
Yeah. Okay. So Chris Olave, we talked about him on Thursday night as well. He went 13th in Thursday's draft. He goes, what do we got here? 26, 28, 29th here. So here's Olave. I like Olave. I think he's got a chance to be this year's JSN. I've said that before. I think if he stays healthy, the offense is better. It's quarterback in the second year. But in 4 different online championships, he's gone as high as 13th and as low as 32nd. He went 32nd. Now he just went 29th. I think Olave will be early in the 3rd round for much of the drafting season, but he's a guy who could move up and be justifiable in the 2nd round. Okay, we got our third.
I apologize. My 5-year-old just came out and needed something before bed. The joy of doing this live. I apologize.
It's okay. Ask her what she thinks of Olave while she's there.
Yeah. Oh, huge Chris Olave fan. Huge. She drafted him late last year, and that guy was a league winner.
There you go.
Huge Chris Olave fan. Again, I apologize for that, but the joys of doing this live.
No worries. Okay, so we're looking at the 3rd tight end. Tyler Warren goes there to Team 12. Team 12, I've said many times in these 12-team drafts, likes to load up on wide receivers. This time he went with 2 running backs. So did Team 11. So a little different builds from these 2 teams than we've seen in the past. But and Scatabo goes at 47. That's higher than his ADP. I'll check that out. Lamar Jackson, the 2nd quarterback. Are you on board with Lamar Jackson? I mean, the Ravens, I'm not quite sure they did a whole lot in the draft, to be truthful with you.
But it kind of goes back to what we talked to earlier. I wouldn't be on board with Lamar Jackson in round 2 like he was in the past, but round 5, that has a lot of potential. Again, his legs, former MVP. I'm on board with these quarterbacks. Again, May right after. This seems like where you can kind of gamble a little bit. And, the expected value, we're on board with our football guys. This is the football guys value-based drafting. At some point, these quarterbacks become a value. And about round 5 is where you kind of got to start thinking about Lamar Jackson. At some point, these guys are falling too far.
Yep.
And if I can get Lamar Jackson in round 5, I kind of think I'm interested in that.
Yep. So Lamar Jackson's ADP in the online championship is 48. So absolutely right at the end of round 4. So good value there. Drake May is going at the end of the 5th round. Joe Burrow goes towards the end of the 5th round. So let's just see if we can see a couple here. Hey, there's Christian Watson. He's wide receiver 1 this year. Team 7 going with the hero running back build as well, right? Jonathan Taylor, Rashee Rice, Tet McMillan, Luther Burden, and now Christian Watson. Like the build there.
And I like this team 6. Look at McCaffrey, Barkley, Henry. I mean, that's like the Mount Rushmore of fantasy running backs over the last 4 or 5 years. Henry's just one of those guys every year. It cracks me up. You see everyone on Twitter, why did we let this guy fall to round 3 again based on what he's done? Is this the year he finally drops off? I'm not going to bet against the guy. I'll tell you that much. And here we go with Loveland. We talk about those Bears options. We talked about Burden, Loveland. Who's going to get all these targets that are there? Ben Johnson tends to have his guys. I know as a Packers fan, it must hurt you to say, but I think that Bears offense has still got some room to grow.
Oh, yeah.
Loveland there, when you see Tyler Warren in this round, when you see where Loveland went, when you see where the other 2 tight ends, the first 2 tight ends, we had a little bit of a gap between tight end picks here. I like Loveland at this spot in the middle of round 5.
Yeah, absolutely. His ADP is 39. So Loveland fell there. Warren went ahead of him. Warren is at 69. So that guy got jumped there. But I mean, I think the Odunze and Caleb Williams' connection was really strong last year. So I do think Odunze is being dropped too far, to be truthful. But yeah, Loveland at the end of the year was first rate. I just want to talk about Derrick Henry because it was just on Twitter that somebody said, he's 33 years old. How can this guy produce again this year? And Chad put in there, 33 years old. I think he's burned me for 33 years because he's been avoiding him for the same reason. Like, no, he can't put another good year together. And Chad's absolutely right. It feels like that dude's been burning all of us that have faded him in the years.
Again, that McCaffrey, Barkley, Henry start. That's just fun to look at based on how things have gone the last couple of years. I really, really like that start from Team 6.
All right, so we just talked about stacking. Burrow falls to 58. And guess what? Team 3 auto pick that Jamar Chase, and now look at him building a stack right there, huh? How you like that?
Yeah. Team 3, the Burrow Chase. Again, that was one a lot of people were trying to line up last year. Where was Burrow going? I think it was the end of round 3. Like they select Chase first, and then
it would be Chase and then Chase Brown and then Burrow. There were many teams. There's like 30% that had those 3 guys.
And man, oh man, it's that offense, and that offense is going to be a lot of shootouts. I think that defense, they've made a couple of moves, but there's going to be a lot of high-scoring Cincinnati Bengal games as long as Burrow stays healthy. That Burrow to Chase stack, and again, you get Burrow at the end of round 5, the pair with your first-round pick.
I like it.
Sign me up for that.
I like it too. Okay, there goes Odunze at 60. So Burden was at 50-something. No, not even 40-something. And then Odunze was at 60. All right, Geoff, we have one more stack here that we might – whoa, Burrow and Daniels.
That's the auto team. The guy, unfortunately, hasn't shown up.
Oh, gee whiz. I thought he was making those picks. All right, here's a stack right here. Team 9 takes Drake May, and he's got A.J. Brown on his team right now.
Yeah. But we talked about it. Man, oh, man. I like that. I think Brown has an immense upside in that offense. He might just be fed a ton.
Yeah.
And, to put him with May, you won't be able to do a May Brown stack from Team 9 like this fella did in September. I can almost guarantee that. So that's a heck of a start. And, I mean, a potential league winner if things go the way they could with that twosome.
All right, we got another rookie, Mekhi Lemon, who fell to Philadelphia. Well, they traded up, I should say, to get him. But, boy, he was a guy who was supposed to go to the Rams at 13. I think McVay really wanted him at 13. He didn't want a quarterback at 13 because that was did you see that press conference with McVay and Les Snead?
Yeah, he didn't look too thrilled, did he?
No, not at all.
And again, they're like, oh, this is an extra pick that they got from what was the Falcons trade last year. So
it was.
They felt like they could waste it. That seemed incredibly odd to me from a team that is a contender.
Well, that's what McVay was upset about, I think.
Sure.
I can understand they wanted to go the Packer route, right? This is like Rodgers and Love. It's like Favre and Rodgers. But, man, they're closer to a Super Bowl than we were back when we drafted Love. So, but I don't – and he's not even a quarterback. I heard this thing. He's started 15 games since 2021, okay? So let's say he sits 2 or 3 years. He'll have started 15 football games in like a 6-7 year period. That's
insane,
crazy.
Yeah, insane. I'm not an NFL GM, but that had to have come across his desk at some point when considering the pick, right?
For sure.
You better be pretty sure that you're drafting a future starting quarterback at that rate.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Team 7, well done. That's what I'm going to say. Well done. I mean, Jadarian Price, who falls to Seattle, might be the best landing spot for any rookie this year. And teams him up with Jonathan Taylor with 4 wide receivers. That's a heck of a start there. So I like that. Don't know who the owner is, but I'm just going to say that's a good start. And I like Jadarian Price going right there. I think he's going to move on up. Abib took him, I think, a little later than this, to be truthful. Let me see if I can.
I think it was round 6, round 7. It was around here. Yeah, that was when we didn't even know he went to Seattle at that point.
Don't give our stuff away, Geoff. We didn't know. No, we had gone on before the draft was over, and he was the last one in the first round. So we did not know. And we thought, hey, that's pretty cagey, Abib. Yeah, landing spot in Seattle's perfect. What? Okay, yeah. His ADP is 81 right now. think he took him at 68. So, yep, you're right in this spot here. In fact, one spot after that. So this is his low right now. I think he's going to move on up. I think that landing spot's perfect for him.
I do as well.
Yeah. All right. So good stuff here. Cruising through. Not even half an hour, and we're through almost round 6. So these things can move pretty good for sure. All right, team 11. We'll talk about him. He did the 3 running back stack. It's kind of a no RB, but taking one in the 5th is probably not considered 0 RB. But yeah, 3 running backs, a quarterback, and now he's going to load up on the yellow stickers here.
And I mentioned on our Thursday draft about there was a wide receiver combo. If I would have told you last year at this time that Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson would go in the same round of the 2026 draft, I think people would say, oh my gosh, Michael Wilson just shot up boards, or Harrison was hurt.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the middle here. But again, man, oh man, how the mighty have fallen in Harrison, and that end of season for what Wilson did. Look where it has him going now.
Yeah, if you would have told me that last year, I would have said, wow, Wilson had a heck of a year. He moved on up, right?
And he did. But
the love for Marvin Harrison is gone. If you had him in either year, I had him the first year, stayed away. My brother Mike had him. He'll never take him again. I mean, he was bad, and he's been bad for 2 years. And I don't think he does the separation. I thought he could separate much better. But, yeah, he was the most heralded one out of all the Ohio State wide receivers, right? And he's not as good as Olave or JSN, and not even close.
I'm not sure if Tate and him were together, but here they are in the same round.
Sure.
Again, these Ohio State receivers. And
they were. Yep.
This seems a little better for Tate. I think he went a little earlier on Thursday.
Yep.
Again, when I watch Tate, I'm a big college football guy, not as much now in the NIL era.
Mm-hmm.
But I never thought I was watching the number 4 pick in the NFL draft when I watched Carnell Tate play football. And I kind of think that was a little bit was him being the best receiver in a soft receiver class. But round 6, yeah, you can sign me up for a little bit of Carnell Tate in round 6. I think he's kind of in that Harrison range, that Wilson range, and these other guys. This is going to be a very, very interesting round when you look at these guys that have gone here. Brian Thomas, Mekhi Lemon. It seems like there could be a league winner here, and there seems like there could be a lot of hurt here. I don't know which one's going to be which right now, but there's some pretty interesting yellow names on the board right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The rookie's going right now. Like you said, Carnell Tate. I think the talent's there. I think Cam Ward's a good quarterback. Is the offense going to be anything? They were just brutal to watch last year, right? Jordan Tyson, first-round pick, 8th overall, I think it was, goes to New Orleans. Nice little spot there. Let's just talk about the hookups again, the stacking, if you will. Team 12, Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey. They both went much earlier last year, so that's a nice little combination there. You go back to team 11, Allen, right? We talked about James Cook. Hey, DJ Moore, too. He got DJ Moore. So a little stacking going on by teams 11 and 12 right there.
Yeah, pretty. Again, McConkey's an interesting one to me. He was a guy that, I don't know what happened there last year. Obviously, I don't think anyone expected Quentin Johnston to do the season that he had, all that kind of stuff. But McConkey can load up on the catches. He had that pretty sweet end of the 2024 season that had him all the steam going into 2025. We talked about how bad that offensive line was beat up at the end of last year. I don't think that's the Chargers offense we're going to see if they're healthy up front.
Yeah.
I think McConkey could be in for a huge year, and I like him at the end of round 4, and I like him paired with Herbert. Yeah,
you lose 2 all-pro style tackles. That hurts your offense, right? So that was a big blow. They get those 2 guys back, Alt, of course, and they'll be fine. Okay, round 7, we're looking at Tucker Kraft. I like the value there. I said that the other night as well. Harold Fannin goes right before him. Obviously, was a heck of a player last year as a rookie. We'll see what he does this year. DK Metcalf falling all the way to round 7. We don't even know who the quarterback is there. I think Tomlin was on today, and he said he bets it'll be Rodgers. I think everybody thinks Rodgers is coming back. He's just got to be a diva, right, Geoff?
Oh, come on. Super Bowl champ, Green Bay Packer. Where's the loyalty? Diva.
I love him.
That's your guy.
I love him. But he does this just like Favre did, and he said he would never do this, where he's just going to drag it out. I mean, come on. Tell the team before the NFL draft so they know if they should draft somebody or not. They did draft a quarterback, obviously.
Yeah, they drafted the Penn State quarterback.
Yeah,
right?
I like him too.
Alar was a guy, again, I'm
Yeah.
a college football guy. He was a guy going into this previous season that people were talking about
Absolutely.
potentially being a first-round pick. So,
Absolutely.
and I believe they have, Allen from Ohio State as well that won the national championship. So they might be a little better off than they were last year if Rodgers doesn't come back. But I agree with you. That's going to be Rodgers under center in Pittsburgh this year.
Yeah, definitely. No, like you said, Alar, they were talking about a first-round pick. Nussmeier from LSU, they were talking about a first-round pick. He went in the 6th round yesterday. So these quarterbacks, they get hurt a little bit, and then they drop in a big way. So, all right, Caleb Williams goes to team 2. There's no hookup there with him yet. So just took the best one. And then Jalen Hurts goes, and no stacking going on. Well, Mekhi Lemon. Yeah, Mekhi Lemon, I guess. So, again, we like to look at that part to see what's going on. But here we go in round 7 is where a couple of quarterbacks will go. Maybe we'll see a few more in round 8 as well. But good stuff. All right.
Again, just to bring it up, we talked about Hurts. The tush push, the rushing touchdowns, what he can still do with his legs. And they're round 7 for a guy that was going, round 3 last year, round 2 last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's getting to the point where maybe waiting the round 10 to get that sleeper quarterback, maybe just locking in Hurts and what he's going to do at the end of round 7 is the play this year. And again, I don't want to say what's right and wrong. The guys doing these drafts know a whole heck of a lot more than I do at this point. But to me, my interest is peaked in these mid-round quarterbacks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a make or break year for Hurts. It really is. I mean, as good as he is, leading them to 2 Super Bowls and a Super Bowl title, he was not good last year, and he's got to start sticking in the pocket a little bit more, I think, and looking to his second alternative, his third one. He needs to either run the ball more and get more value, or stick in the pocket and look at his third options and such. So he's got a lot to prove this year, but I like him as well from a fantasy standpoint. Of course, as long as he starts running a little bit more, he'll be in good shape. So, all right. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through first 10, 11, 12 rounds, and then we'll call it a night. But again, we want to do this to show you the roster builds, where some of the rookies are going. We'll try to do a couple more of these live streams yet in the next couple weeks. I might even do one on Thursday, I'm thinking about. So we'll see what happens there. All right, there's Mahomes, the team 7. Stack a little bit with Rashee Rice. Not bad there. So team 7. Doing a lot
round 8, Patrick Mahomes. Again, he hasn't been the Patrick Mahomes of old.
No.
But that piques my interest. I'm not going to lie. Round 8 Mahomes.
Coming out. He's got ACL injury. We're not quite sure. Will he be ready right away? He says he will be. Be interesting there. J.K. Dobbins goes to team 9. That's an interesting backfield. They just drafted a rookie running back to go along with what they have there. But I think Dobbins, don't forget about him. He was damn good last year. And team 9 certainly went with only one running back up to that point. Swift and Dobbins is his 2 starting running backs at this point. There you go, Wan'Dale Robinson.
What are these 0 running back builds going to look like? Dobbins, I feel like he's been a 0 running back hero for as long as he's been in the league. This is kind of where he's gone. He's kind of outperformed where he's gone as ADP for pretty much a lot of those years. I'm not betting against the guy. Again, that Denver offense, you mentioned Harvey, I feel he didn't quite perform the way they thought. You mentioned a rookie running back with Sean Payton, the veteran in that backfield, round 8. Early on, at least, I think you might have yourself a pretty good running back option in the fantasy game.
Yep, definitely. All right, team 11 and 12, loading up on wide receivers. Michael Pittman, also with Pittsburgh. So, you know what? A lot of people faded him last year with injuries and such like that, but he had a pretty good year. Weren't sure about the quarterback situation there. We're not sure about the quarterback situation here. Team 12 doubles up on tight ends. He's the first one to do that. All right.
Yeah, Gadsden, man. We talk about guys that kind of came out of nowhere last year. Fannin and Gadsden, those rookie tight ends. You and I have been doing this for a while now. I don't think we want to admit how long we've been doing this, but used to be rookie tight ends. You didn't touch them, but those guys kind of came out from out of nowhere last year and had great seasons. I mean, Fannin was a late round pick. Gadsden, for the most part, I believe, was a fab pickup in a lot of leagues. Again, who's it going to be this year? The tight end position, there were some interesting ones drafted this week. I like Gadsden in that offense. We talked about McConkey. We talked about that offense being healthy. I think that Chargers offense might be a little undervalued, other than Hampton, who obviously went at the end of what did he go? We didn't even mention that. Hampton, McConkey,
12.
Herbert,
Right.
Gadsden, that team 12. He's betting on the Chargers offense.
I forgot about Hampton up there as well. We were talking about McConkey and Herbert. But yeah, you're high on Chargers offense. I think Team 12 is higher on it than you are. So there you go. Hey,
Very much so.
This is a good pick. I like Jonathan Brooks. I know Abib took him the other night, and they don't have really anybody else there. I think Brooks really has a chance to break out this year. Disappointment last year because he was hurt at the beginning of the year. Rico Dowdle was a star there for a while, ran all over my Packers in front of me while I was sitting there at Lambeau Field. But I think Brooks has got really good upside. There you go. Team 8 takes Dak. We don't have a hookup there. No stack on Team 8. But I like Jonathan Brooks. I'll just say that.
Yeah, well, the draft equity, he's a round 2 pick for him, round 2 pick, if I remember correct. Right. So they have a lot invested in him. And Abib said, I think he said he was a Texas Longhorn graduate. It doesn't seem like he was knocking him up his board because of the homerism, the alumniism, or whatever you want to call it. Brooks, he's going to be a guy, again, he seems to be one of those guys that has one long preseason run where he shows a little burst, and he's a round 6, round 7 pick for those 0 running back guys.
Yep, definitely. All right, we had Alec Pierce in round 7. We had Josh Downs in round 8. I hope that Daniel Jones will come back. Again, he had ACL. They say things are looking good, but I don't know what the situation is going to be at Indianapolis. They haven't traded Anthony Richardson, but, as time will tell, we'll see how close Daniel Jones is. I think that most people are betting that he's going to be fully healthy and ready to go, but that was a good team last year until all of a sudden it just fell apart, and then Jones got hurt.
Man, oh man, yeah. I mean, for a while there, they were the most surprising team. They were well on their way. That's going to be an interesting team. It seems like they have some value. We've seen where Pierce went. We've seen where Downs went. I think Downs is a very interesting pick at this spot with Pittman gone. Warren, too. What's it going to look like there? Right. Seems like there's some upside, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it just all went to hell. So we'll see where it stands with Jones. But for now, you could sign me up for Josh Downs, where he went all day, every day.
Yeah, he was good. No, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how that offense goes. Again, if Daniel Jones isn't ready, then they don't trade Anthony Richardson, and then he starts. But we'll see. Team 5, doubling up on tight ends there. Kind of interesting. I think Laporta's good value there, to be truthful. I got to check out his ADP. But Pitts and Laporta, do you ever double stack on tight ends this early, first 9 rounds, Geoff?
Oh, man, I don't know. I get it, but at the same time, Beeb talked about how he likes to draft 3 quarterbacks and then play the matchups. To me, I'm always going to get that wrong. I'm not as sharp as a Beeb. I don't want to have to be picking between Pitts and Laporta each week. I'm going to get that wrong every time when it seems like a coin flip. So I'm going to go the other way just based on how bad I am at predicting the matchup each week. Yeah.
So I think he sees value, right? So Pitts' ADP is 89. He went, I have to do the math here, but around 100, right? And then Laporta's ADP is 98, and he went about 104. So I think he sees value there, but that's pretty interesting to do those 2 guys. Like you say, each week you're going to have to make a decision now on those guys. There goes Jaden Reed. Team 1 takes his first quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. We got a Bashal Tootin. They ain't really considered a stack. So a couple of teams with stacks, like I said, not everybody though, and you don't have to do it, but we saw where the Cincinnati stack worked with Chase, Burrow a couple of years ago, right? We've seen it with Josh Allen and Diggs. We've seen it with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. So it certainly has helped to win the grand prize in other past years, that's for sure.
And we still have the schedules that got to come out.
Yeah, right.
And people like to target those week 17 games. What's going to be the shootout? And as fantasy operators, it brings back the nightmare to the DeMar Hamlin when the schedule came out and everyone said, "Oh, Cincinnati Buffalo, that's going to be a shootout. We got to target that game week 17." And we all know how that one turned out. But that's a big thing that people talk about these days. So I think that's next up as far as the fantasy landscape goes, and that's kind of the final piece of the puzzle is the schedule coming out. And people like to look at those playoff weeks, and it's definitely a thing. Who's playing who in those championship weeks?
Absolutely, for sure. All right, let me see here. Kelsey Waller a few years ago. There you go, Jay. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, again, that's as a manager every week you're making those decisions. Then, right, Joe? Same thing. 3 elite tight ends. It makes it tougher. I'll just say that, especially in the first 9 rounds, right, when you're taking 2. And 2 teams did it. We're not knocking it. We're just asking, do you feel comfortable doing it? I like to stick with 1 tight end myself and just plug them in every week. That's myself. But as Abib said, and hey, he won the $1 million twice. He likes every position to make roster changes. So God bless him. That's for sure. All right, Jackson Dart goes to team 6. So we got every one of the quarterbacks up for team 5, and that's it. Team 5 is the only one. So here we are talking about the quarterbacks. Dak Prescott, round 9. Trevor Lawrence, round 10. Dart. Now Purdy goes to team 7. Like you said, you can wait. And, man, there's some good quarterbacks here.
And, again, I mean, you look at who's going here versus I brought up Hurts at the end of round 7. Just says you know what Hurts is. You know he's going to give you the rushing touchdowns. I like these guys here. Obviously, you talked about Mahomes' injury. Prescott, I mean, he's a pretty sure thing at this point, I think. Yep. But Lawrence, is he going to do what he did what he did last year? Maybe. Dart, I mean, it's all health thing with him. I like his what he can do running the football, but is he going to get himself knocked out of every other game with the way he does it is the question. Purdy, again, I mean, it's hard to argue against what that guy has done, but I just don't think he has the same upside as a Hurts. So I'm liking these mid-round guys based on just what I'm seeing in these first couple drafts that we've had post-NFL draft here this week.
Yep, I agree with you. I like Prescott in round 9. I like Mahomes in round 8. I think Purdy, I mean, that's his backup, but that in round 10 is good value. I'm looking at the Giants, right? We got Malik Neighbors who went, and again, I was talking about this. He went in the earlier second round the other night, but here at 27, that's more value for me, I think. I could sign up for that. Coming off that big ACL injury, I'm really worried about him maybe missing the first 4 weeks. Scadaboo, he goes at 47. So that's interesting as well. And again, then you got Dart down there. So Giants offense could be really good. Their defense is going to be really good this year. No doubt about that. All right, team 12 takes Bo Nix. Same division as Justin Herbert, but that's his backup quarterback.
Team 11, look at all that gold going down the column there. My goodness. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receivers in a row. I like where he's at there. Those guys are going to give him some pretty big upside weeks. When you pair him with Cook, you pair him with Chase Brown and Josh Allen. Again, though, you got to make sure you get the right guys in there on the certain weeks. Those are some pretty hit or miss, high upside guys. I think Wilson's going to have his great weeks. I think Washington's going to have his great week. We know Johnston, Addison. Man, oh man, I like that talent, but it seems like a pretty hit or miss, and you better make sure you hit on those high upside weeks with those wide receivers that he all took in a row there.
Yeah, well, I think he's starting Moore because he's got Allen at quarterback. Wilson's going to be a starter. Parker Washington was really, really good last year. So, I mean, you got those 3. If Scadaboo isn't ready at the start of the season, I think you could plug in Addison, as your flex for sure. So, and getting Kittle in round 11, obviously he's coming off an injury, but that's a pretty good bargain there at the tight end position too. So I agree with you there. All right, we got the Texans D going first in the 11th round. That's a little early. Let me just see what the ADP is there for them. But Team D, 138 is there. They are going ahead of anybody else here. So curious here. Well, I'm surprised that Giants D is down low. Okay, well, we got Houston D right there.
And again, you talk about how we were talking about the Colts and that division they're in, the Colts, Titans. There's upside. There's some good matchups there potentially. And I think talent-wise, they're the number 1 defense. They locked up Will Anderson again.
Yeah, right.
The secondary is strong with the safety Stingley and all those guys. So I think they're the clear number 1 pick as far as defenses go.
Yep, definitely. So we went at 123 here. Their ADP is 138. Just showing you how good Houston's defense is. ADP of 138. Seattle is next at 158. So 20 picks later. Denver right behind there. So we don't, like I say, usually see in the 11th round, but he wanted the best defense. Might not have come back to him for sure. So he takes Houston in round 11. So, all right, Geoff, we're going to hang on for maybe one more round. I mean, this thing's cruising. 46 minutes. We're through 10 and a half rounds here, but tell people how they can sign up, what they can win, and tell them where they can find a contest like this.
Yeah, you mentioned how fast this is going. 47 minutes in, and we're more than halfway done.
Yep.
I still have the baseball PTSD. These aren't the 3-hour baseball drafts that it seems like I was just doing yesterday. Play NFFC.com, Footballguys Online Championship, best ball, everything. It's fantasy football season. We mentioned we still need to get the schedule out there. We're back, boys. Finally, Joe King,
Yep.
You nailed it. It's fantasy football season now. It was fun watching these. Again, I said I was out with my wife for her birthday and just seeing football on television again. These NBA playoffs, they've been pretty good, but I don't even know what channel any of this is on anymore. I can't find it. The baseball games, my goodness. I know on Sunday I turn it to Fox or CBS, and again, we can talk about some of these weeknight games. I'm not going to get on my soapbox about all this, but it's football season as far as I'm concerned, based on what I just been seeing. It's been fun to watch these highlights. It's been fun watching these draft boards here the last couple of nights.
Yeah.
It's time. Incredible values right now. This isn't how things are going to look come September. Hop in now, get those values.
Yep.
Get these teams that no one else is going to be able to do a couple of months down the line. It's drafting season, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's tough to find out where the basketball playoffs are. It'll probably be the same with football because football is giving it to Apple TV or whatever, I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, no, it's a fun time of year, and I enjoyed watching the draft myself, just seeing the highlights of these young kids and everything. It was awesome. So it's good stuff. So yeah, go to playnffc.com. You can see it on the ticker there. This is a 12-team, 20-round draft. We use third-round reversal, in-season fab, $350 entry fees. We have them scheduled every single night. We sure hope to fill them every night going forward, but early in April, like Geoff said, a lot of people are waiting for the schedule to come out. But listen, if you want to draft early, like Scott just said, huge value in these drafts. Get into one of these early ones. I'll do a live stream this week, I think Thursday night, so stay tuned for this. But
and extended slow drafts as well. If you don't want to commit to a nightly draft, we got 2-hour, 4-hour pick drafts ready to go. They're filling quite well too.
Yep, absolutely. So, all right, everybody, we thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a lot of fun. 200 plus people sitting with us watching this tonight. Thanks for all the interaction on the chat as well. And from Geoff and I, have a great night, and we'll see you later this week. All right.
Thank you for joining us on the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast. To get in the game, go to playnfc.com.